Rod Vachon Holdings proudly presents Warweek Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herring.
Hold on, let me turn on my mic, guys. I'm trying to hurry here. I was running way behind. Oh, and there it is. Do I sound better? Okay, I hope I do. Anyway, how is everyone doing on this beautiful Friday of Lent? Getting ready for Palm Sunday this Sunday, guys. And, well, this week has been very interesting if you're a Canelo fan or if you're a Canelo detractor. And that seems to have consumed the entire boxing community, and especially in the United States. And I mentioned specifically United States because, guys, most people don't get it. But, hey, guys, let's say hello to a couple dear friends in the chat. DJ Mexicano de Texas. Thank you for joining us, sir. He says, I want to see Canelo versus Benavidez. I've seen people on Twitter saying the fight should be in the States, but I will order the pay-per-view no matter where they fight, U.S. or Saudi Arabia. Well, here it is, guys. And one of the reasons why, we'll touch on this a little bit later, but thank you. Well, let me just get this out of the way. That's what we're going to talk about, guys. We're going to talk about whether or not is it healthy for boxing in Saudi Arabia. That's our topic du jour, okay? Let's just say we're going to devote a lot of time on that topic, and I'll explain why I feel a certain way, and I want to get your thoughts on all of this. Psycho boxing fan Watts, welcome to the show, sir. What was that intro music? I'm glad you asked. That was my son's band, Roshi, R-O-S-H-I-I. In fact, I'm going to type it in here in the comments. Dehumanization. That's my favorite song and their current single. It's on Spotify. It's on Pandora. It's on YouTube. Go check it out. Roshi, Dehumanization. There it is. I should get the link for you here. Let me get the link for you here real quick, brother, because that is, I'm very proud of the product that my son made with his band Roshi. They're in my mind, and they just finished playing last week, South by Southwest. And yeah, they're, in my opinion, they're the best band in Texas. I'm sure I'm a bit biased, but I can't help that. Here it is. Let me pull it up so you can see it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Depersonalization. I don't know why I thought it was dehumanization. That's terrible. Hold on, guys. My apologies. I'll get to it. Hold on. But yeah, they've been a band now for several years, and they're starting to make some noise. What is wrong with my computer? Oh, boy. There it is. My apologies, guys. Sorry about the wait. Oh, Chingao, my computer is acting really screwy right now. Hold on. Wow. Maybe women are right. Maybe men can't multitask. So here it is, Psycho Boxing fan. Thank you for joining us, sir. I just put the link in the comment section. Hope you can check it out. There it is. Click on it. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Roshi music. My son and I are going to, we're currently recording a bunch of material. We, for the first time in 6 years, we're recording and writing music together. So we're, yeah, we'll be recording and dropping our first single from the album Heron, Herron. And, yeah, it should be released mid-April. So stay tuned for that, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, in my opinion, my son, he's the singer, guitar player, and he writes most of the music. So yeah, he wrote that. That was a very personal composition. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for bringing that up, brother. And guys, before we move forward, I do have to remind everyone, this show is brought to you by Affordable Dentures and Implants. Over 400 locations nationwide. And the mothership, our central location, our favorite, is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And they've just become a sponsor, not only of the show, but a lot of the promotions that we're doing with TMB Promotions, as well as AAA Promotions. So yeah, they've come on board. We want to thank them for supporting our beloved boxing. The more, the merrier. Want to welcome our brother Tyco TV to the show. Let's see. Affordable luxury housing. Is this fight in Saudi good for boxing? We'll see. We'll see. Well, what do you guys think? I will let you know, Psycho Boxing fan. They should be on tour this summer. So I usually schedule a big tour for them in Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. And so we should be in your area, and I'll let you know, my friend. Oh, well, I tell you what, in the private chat or whatever, just tell you what, let me disclose my email so you can give me your contact information, because I'm always looking for good musicians to record with. Especially right now is a perfect time because we're actually recording our new album. So let me know what you play. Contact me via email. Disclose your contact information. I'll call you tomorrow, if that's okay. Hey, my brother, Jesus Sam. Welcome to the show, sir. Saludos to you, sir. Happy Friday. Hope you're getting ready for Easter and going to be participating in Palm Sunday. And my brother James from the Boxing Source. You know what, James? I tell you what, since there's not a whole lot of live boxing going on, I'm going to click the link. Please join the program, sir, if you can. The more, the merrier. There it is. And anyone who has their headphones and want to participate, this is a War Week Radio Chats episode. And I'd like to get your opinions before I just start going off. You know how that goes. I don't know, Joe. Well, James, you're in this business. So if you're saying that, then yeah, there must be something to that. Jesus also says, Saudi money, not in it to lose money, to overpay fighters. Guys, look, unless they really start seeing a return, right, on their investment, can you imagine that lasting any longer than 5 years? And you can pose that same question to any network, ESPN, DAZN, Showtime. Even though Showtime doesn't need boxing, they've got over 40 million subscribers in the US alone. And because it wasn't cost effective, what happened? They pulled their investment. If they're not getting a return, I can't see this lasting in Saudi. But guys, don't take my word for it. We're going to get the opinion of boxing expert, fight scribe, and a great guy, my dear friend, J.R. Bell. Welcome to the stage, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, Joe? Hey, Joe, I got a question.
Oh, let me ask you. No, seriously. Fire.
You don't think the people in Saudi are just trying to get rid of some money? I mean, did I say that?
Well, you already know who's brokering these deals. I've told you off the air.
Yeah.
Who's brokering these deals in Saudi. I don't know if they have a good working relationship. To the best of my knowledge, no, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind, this is a one-fight deal with Canelo Alvarez in May. So that has nothing to factor in. Are you talking about Al Heyman, right?
Well, I mean, not with that, not just with that, but with the thing in Saudi in general, because I mean, they have, recently got into the game, and these exorbitant purses and that type of stuff. So it's like, hey, how are they able to pull all of this off? So that's some of the
Well,
things that
look. Look, in I'm a musician and I played with bands that we've been invited to play in other countries, as far as like gosh, what was the furthest that I played? Switzerland, in Austria, Amsterdam. A lot of countries will actually pay for. They actually give endowments for arts, for the pursuit and the support of arts and entertainment.
Right, yeah.
And it's good for tourism. It's good for just the continuing education, the continuance of the promotion of the arts and entertainment. It's part of our look at Shoshan Erdeshev, right? I'm currently writing an article for Dimitri Salita Promotions about the upcoming March 28th fight in Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the immortal words of Emmanuel Stewart, welcome to big time boxing. That's where Dimitri got that, right? His new series on DAZN is called Big Time Boxing USA in Detroit.
Yep.
Because that's what Emmanuel always used to say to his young fighters. Hey, you know what? You don't like it? Welcome to big time boxing. And when I saw that, I'm like, you know what? I have to get involved in this. This is so cool. And so, yeah, I'm doing an interview with Sugar and Dimitri tomorrow morning. And so going back to my initial thought, right? I'm sorry, what was I talking about again?
In reference to the the main topic there with the Canelo and Benavidez thing, but Saudi Arabia and their money and their involvement in the sport of boxing, recent involvement in the sport of boxing.
Oh yeah, look, guys. No, I completely forgot my thought. Holy shnikes, I was getting to somewhere and then I got sidetracked with the Emmanuel Stewart thing. God damn it! Now I can't remember. I'm sorry. Let's move on then. Shit, I hate when that happens. Dude, see what happens when you see I've been running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, and I almost forgot to eat, and my blood sugar level is so I had to scarf down a banana real quick before I came on the air. That's why I was late, guys. My apologies. But let's look at these comments real quick. You were talking about you don't know how this is sustainable.
Right. As far as like them.
That's right. We were talking about endowments, right. And so they are doing this just to get tourism, bring the big events, and right now they're bleeding money and they're happy to do it because it's all a promotion. They're looking at this, and that was very similar to in the outset of DAZN. They didn't mind losing money because it was an investment for the big picture. But DAZN, they're making money in other markets, but they're not making money off of boxing in America. And once again, it's like when you see that it's not working and you see that it's not cost effective and you see that you're not getting a return on your investment, ultimately, what do?
You pretty much cut the product. And that, hey, you got the thing with DAZN. DAZN is about to go the same route as Showtime here pretty soon in the US. Now, I mean, you're likely going to see the product elsewhere, of course, but as far as like the US, if they don't come up with something good pretty soon, it's really gonna, cut them out of the picture significantly,
Now, a lot of fans think, right? And this is kind of pretzel logic. This is what they think. Well, at least we're getting the fights. And what is it doing for the overall health of the sport in the American market? And they're like, well, we don't care. We're still getting the fights. Well, you should care because it's not spilling over into the other platforms that are giving young American fighters TV dates. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing an increase in DAZN ratings with these big money pay-per-views from Saudi Arabia? In fact, how have the numbers been, James?
They've been abysmal. Especially in the U.S. market, they've been abysmal.
Look, guys, it's out of sight, out of mind. Look, we've already established, and you already know this from listening to this show, that diehard fans, right? The overwhelming majority of them. Now, not the guys listening to this show, right? Because you guys understand after listening to this show for a substantial period of time what it means and what it does to the sport of boxing. If you financially support it and if you don't, right? But the overwhelming majority, the most outspoken, loudmouth idiots on Twitter, do you think they pay anything for their boxing entertainment? No. Look at all the fans that Devin Haney seems to have on Twitter and YouTube. How was his last pay-per-view, James?
Oh, goodness. It's horrible.
50,000. Guys, numbers don't lie. And so what we are hoping is that it spills over and these big events, even though they're in Saudi Arabia, but here's the flaw in that logic. How many mainstream media outlets are trekking over to Saudi Arabia to cover these events, James?
Right. Exactly. That's the thing that kind of like drives, what could project how many people are going to be interested in the event is how many mainstream or major media outlets are covering the event. And if you ain't going to have any of those guys out there or these media members out there to cover the fight, then, what's the use of like saying that it's going to be anywhere near successful,
And here it is. Check it out. Jesus M has the beat. Haney versus Ryan's not selling. You know why? Do you know why? Even though Ryan has been all over the media. In fact, a lot of people not interested in boxing are even covering the trials of Ryan Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, once again, what do we profess on this show, guys? Promotions 101. It's not a hot fight, even though it's a good matchup. It's not a hot fight unless you put it in the right location. If you put it in the right venue, this is the problem I have with Eddie Hearn being a promoter in this market. Bam Rodriguez versus El Gallo Estrada in Arizona.
He loves Arizona, doesn't he?
You know what? He must have some kind of sponsorship or deal set up with the venue or somewhere around the Phoenix area because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards, and this one, El Gallo Estrada, you put it in the Alamo Dome, 30 to 40,000 easy. Easy, guys. Easy.
Right.
Okay?
And
so you put a good matchup in the wrong venue, wrong location. Guess what? It's not a hot fight. It's only a hot fight unless you put it in the right location. Guys, welcome to the show at this time. I don't know who this is. Port, welcome to the show, sir.
Salute. Hello, y'all. How's it going?
How are you, sir?
Pretty decent. Just waiting in the parking lot. So I just decided to hop on.
Good, man. Thank you for joining us, sir. The more the merrier. So what are your thoughts? We'll get your thoughts very quickly since you're on borrowed time. Canelo versus Benavidez in Saudi Arabia. Is this healthy for boxing?
Okay, so I've had my thoughts on this about not just this Canelo Benavidez fight, just the whole Saudi Arabia getting involved in boxing. And I think it's a quick fix. I think it's a quick Band-Aid. I think it honestly might make the sport worse because you're inflating these fighters' purses. All the fighters, Bivol and Beterbiev and Benavidez and Canelo potentially and Fury Usyk, these guys are never, ever going to get the same purse they get from these Saudis. So they're going to be spoiled. They're going to have this entitlement, So, it's a quick fix for the sport. But the Saudis aren't going to be here forever, to give the boxers what they want, to fight. They're going to get tired of it in about 2-3 years, maybe at most. And they're going to say, no, F this boxing stuff. And we're going to, their own stuff. And the boxers, now they're all going to be, their egos are going to be inflated. And they're never going to get that high again. And they're never going to get that big payday again. So, in my opinion, it's going to make the sport worse long term. And the sport's already bad. It's already horrible.
That's right. Ding, ding, ding. Big winner. Chicken dinner. That's exactly what we've been professing on this show, and that's what we want to avoid. Once again, Don Chargan taught us Promotions 101. inflated purses, when you pay out inflated purses to fighters that far exceed their market value, it makes it virtually impossible to put together the best fights. Now, right now, are we seeing the best matchups in Saudi? Well, we're going to with the June 1st but honestly, that you shouldn't look at that. That is two guys who are at the tail end of their career, respectively, right? And this is a fight that we've been wanting to see, and the entire ordeal with that situation is, well, there's not enough money to support that fight because both guys are virtual unknowns in the States. Even Bivol beating Canelo Alvarez didn't increase his market value by that much.
Sure didn't.
Yeah, it didn't. You're right on that.
Okay, so that's an anomaly. That's a very special situation where I'm happy the Saudis got involved with that one. But other than that, how many great fights have we actually seen that have been worth the money? How many fights that have taken place in Saudi that we actually asked to see?
I can say one. That's it.
Which one?
That's the AJ Usyk rematch. And to me, like I didn't even want that fight either. But that's like the only fight where I could say, yeah, like that was worth it. You could say. Other than that, honestly,
no. I'm talking about Riyadh season. That was a different situation. I'm talking about when they became all in and really busted out the checkbook.
Oh, my bad. No, nothing. None.
Nothing. So we're not even seeing the best fights, and we're getting these guys who aren't ticket sellers. We're growing them accustomed to receiving millions of dollars. Like, where else are you going to put those fights? And are they of great consequence? Now, think about this. James, do you think, James, that it's a reasonable request for Canelo to ask for $150 to $200 million, first of all?
Initially, no. But if there's a suitor that's willing to pay, if there's going to be someone in the street that's willing to pay for the service, then why not? But I'm like,
well, I'll tell you why not. How did it work out for BLK Prime?
Yeah, BLK Prime. Yeah, good.
Look, when you put that high of a price tag, look at Al Heyman and PBC, guys. How did that work out? How's that worked out so far?
They're horrible.
Now no one wants to give him a budget. They're having to bankroll their entire operation this year. Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't look, when no one is looking out, and that's the biggest problem in boxing right now. No one is looking out for the investment of the network. Right? No one. Not the promoters. With the promoter, they're going to make 20% off the top. It's their event. They take out 20%. They make money regardless. Unless you're PBC right now. They have to bankroll everything. Okay, Eddie Hearn, do you think he gives two shits about the DAZN checkbook, whether or not they make any money? Well, as long as I get my TV dates and as long as we get these fighters paid, that's all that matters. No, that's not all that matters. Why do you think we're losing TV dates in the American market, guys? Because, look, and everyone was happy, just giddy. Yay, Showtime's out of boxing. PBC, you're going down. How's that looking right now? You have a ton of fighters out of work, waiting around, waiting for TV dates, and nothing is happening in the sport. All these fighters are sitting in idle. And with Showtime going out, pulling their investment, now you've got platforms like ESPN and DAZN now looking at, pulling out the magnifying glass and the microscope saying, why did they pull out? Is it not cost effective? Is it not paying off? Let's take a closer look at this now, guys. We've already ascertained that ESPN isn't interested in bankrolling the pay-per-views. James, how many big pay-per-views has ESPN bankrolled since losing their ass with Fox on Fury, Wilder 2 and 3?
Oh, jeez. The only one that I remember is what? Haney versus Lomachenko, right?
Yep.
What other pay-per-view says ESPN done it at that point?
Yeah, exactly. Since that debacle, since they lost tens of millions of dollars, they have shown and proven that they're not interested in bankrolling the big time events.
That just shows you it. And my thing is going to be also that, like, as far as like American events and stuff like that goes for ESPN, those regular events, they're going to be fewer and fewer here as the year goes on. Just watch.
Look, I'll say that. Look, hold on. Let me take care of something real quick because this is starting to get annoying to me.
Okay. Well,
all right. I just took care of that. Right? Did you see that?
Oh, no.
I had to put someone in timeout. I was getting a little kind of. Honestly, I was getting a little gay, to be honest. But guys, this is the biggest problem in boxing. And I know you guys think that I harp on the fans way too much. So trust me though, it's not just you guys. It's everyone involved. Like Samson Lukowitz. Oh, well, we want to congratulate. Canelo, he's a smart businessman. He's, taking a page from Floyd Mayweather's handbook. We're still suffering. We're still trying to get rid of the stink that Floyd Mayweather left on the sport, guys. And it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. Okay? Is that good for boxing to pay this guy 150 to 200 million? That pretty much solidifying the fact that no network or distributor is going to make their money back. Does that sound healthy to the sport? No one is concerned. Everyone should be thinking about whether or not the benefactors make their investment dollar back. Okay? Dana White, we're making him look like Nostradamus. Geez, the money these guys are asking for, it's almost like a going out of business sale. And he's right. How many times have you heard, dude, how many times have you heard from a fighter or a fan or anyone when we say, well, hey, that's way over market value. These guys want that much money, then that's pretty much guaranteeing that the platform is not going to make any money. They're going to lose their ass. What are the fighters' response? Well, that's not my problem. That's not my problem. Fans, this is on pay-per-view. Well, it's a pay-per-view out of necessity. Well, that's not my problem. So what has to happen, guys, before it becomes everyone's problem? James, do you have a solution for that?
The solution is you're going to see like very, very fewer and fewer boxing dates and fewer fighters being active in the sport.
We're already seeing that.
Yep. So
it's only going to get worse. Guys, this is not healthy for the sport of boxing. And once again, this is the biggest fight outside of Crawford versus Canelo. Outside of maybe Tank Davis versus, I don't know, Naoya Inoue. These are the biggest fights that you can make in the American market. So why is it going to Saudi? Okay, guys, this is why I'm saying you're going to see the most significant in terms of the health of the sport. I hate to say it. It's not Canelo Benavidez. It's going to be Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. And if this actually miraculously sizzles on the big stage where fans walk away saying, wow, did you see that? I can't believe that happened. And if they're talking about it week or the subsequent weeks, if they keep, like if it sizzles like that, then that's going to prove to be the best thing for the health of the sport. Networks, Netflix getting involved, making money, putting on a huge event that has an audience of tens of millions of people worldwide. And if the product delivers, that may just save boxing in the American market, not the Saudis. Once again, what has been the effect since the Saudis have been involved and had these, 3 pay-per-view events? Have you seen it spill over? Is anyone talking about any of those?
Like, I think, pretty much the thing is wore off from the moment of Joshua knocking out Ngannou and pretty much putting Ngannou like almost out of boxing. But outside of
Boom.
that, you really don't have much from that. Like, think for everything else is, as far as like the other events, they didn't involve any fighters within the American market. So if you're talking about American fans, they're not really moved by what's happening over there in Saudi Arabia. So
Not at all. And the numbers reflected on pay-per-view. Joshua, how good were those numbers on 2 different platforms, ESPN and DAZN? How'd it do? Have you seen any release of those numbers?
not hearing them.
I can tell you that they were approaching Clarissa Shields' Dimitri Salita promotions numbers.
What was that thing that happened in March a few years ago? That women's pay-per-view joint?
Yep, that one.
Man. Well,
What did it do, like 4,000 or 5,000?
I bought that pay-per-view.
Yep, so did I. And I guess we were one of only about 5,000 people that purchased it around the country. It was on pay-per-view out of necessity. Right? And that was after, and what happened? The New York Times, because they wrote this terrible story of, boxing is still practicing misogyny because it's not an equal pay. Well, has nothing to do with gender. It has everything to do with whether or not you can sell tickets.
Right. That's all about economy. So
when an event like that, the media can't wait to get a hold of that and show that misogyny and racism exists in America. Kiss my ass. But all at the expense of the health of the sport. Now, once again, it's not just the fans stealing the shit. It's the fighters as well. Hey, that's not my problem.
Well, it's about to be your problem when you're not in the ring fighting.
Yeah, boy, it's easy for you to say, Sean. You're retired, dude. Why do you think you're retired? You saw the gravy train coming to a screeching halt. So promoters, hey, you know what? We don't care. We're going to get our money anyway. We're taking 20% of the event. Eddie Hearn, it's going to be a cracking event. It's going to be a great fight on pay-per-view. Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis, and it's only for the low price of $8 million. How'd that do? Did it make DAZN money?
Nope.
Tell you what, they better pray Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia sizzles, or that's going to be a problem, guys. Now, do you really want the biggest stars of the American market competing in Saudi Arabia out of sight, out of mind, James?
Oh, that is not a good look at all. They're like, let's have Terrence Crawford out there in Saudi Arabia, or Tank Davis in Saudi Arabia, or like, come on.
I am so sick and tired of these assholes like Canelo Alvarez holding the sport hostage. Now, once again, you could say, and I've stated on this show, well, he deserves. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore in his mind. Okay, well then get the fuck out of the sport. Because you're just clogging up the 168-pound weight division. Hand the baton off, brother. I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of these prima donna bitches holding the sport hostage and not caring about the future health of our beloved boxing. I'm sick of it. They all want to be Floyd Mayweather. Well, no, man. Oh, I don't want to fight you. Yeah, you haven't fought anybody. You bring nothing to the table. I am sick of hearing it. Benavidez is sick of hearing it. Well, wait a minute then. Why did you say that same exact thing to David Morrell then? Devin Haney. He said that same thing to Shakur Stevenson. And those guys are mid-level attractions. And guess what? It's even happening at the club level, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gotten that bad. So you know what? Anyone who doesn't want to fight for what we're offering, kiss my ass, go bankroll your own fights.
Pretty much, man.
Because we are sick to death of you holding this sport hostage. Hey, thanks for playing. Hey, you've had a great career. It was wonderful to see you fight in the ring. But that's that. We're done with this. We're done with this. They can all kiss my ass. James, your thoughts?
It's just crazy how the business of boxing has really hurt the sport of boxing. Like so many fighters have, overinflated their worth, and it has just been a huge effect on the sport, and it's made the sport, a lot worse than what it was, and there have
It's
been
become, you can say it, James, it's become unrecognizable.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's why I say, like, there has to be something that happens to really kind of like say, okay, this is a moment where, okay, we got to fix this up, or we're pretty much done. But it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon.
Because no side of the fence wants to concede.
Right.
The fighters, they're not going to do it. Oh, man, you want me to take less from my next fight? Well, that's what the market dictates. Well, then I'm not fighting. Well, see ya. That's the attitude and the position that these promoters and networks have to take.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've kind of like seen a couple of examples of that in the past few years. It's like, some fighters say, like, these are the guys that, I want to fight. Well, we're not going to pay you for those fights. Okay, well, how do I get paid? Well, you got to fight these guys. And either those fighters have to choose to fight those guys, or they're going to be put on the shelf. So
Yep.
I think it's going to be, and you kind of like mentioned this earlier, is that like these networks are going to have to put their proverbial foot down and say, hey, we're not going to pay you this amount of money for fighting this guy when we know that we're not going to get that type of money back. We're not going to do it.
Yep. You guys fight for this, or we'll find someone else who's willing to. That's it. Canelo, 150 to 200 million. Oh my gosh. So he's pretty much guaranteeing that no one else, if someone is dumb enough to pay that, then they're pretty much securing or solidifying the idea that everyone is going to lose money on this. Everyone else is going to lose money except for Canelo. That's it. It defeats the purpose of even staging the event.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I want to welcome to the show at this time Anthony C. Anthony, welcome to the show, sir. What are your thoughts, sir, on Canelo versus Benavidez and Canelo requesting 150 to 200 million?
Yo, can you hear me? Oh, okay, perfect.
I can hear you just fine now, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, so keep in mind, right? I'm a big Canelo fan. I live here in San Antonio. I've been to his fight, right? Like this against Trout. He wasn't that known back then. He was still a big deal, right?
Yeah, I actually was in working with Austin Trout at the time.
That's badass. So in the fight, dude, the fight was crazy. Well, anyways, so this is coming from a Canelo fan, right? I mean, this is coming from someone who backed him up through the whole Triple G allegations of him ducking and whatnot, and I supported Canelo. I was like, you know what? I don't think he's ducking. I think Triple G just kind of came out of nowhere, beat up a few random nobodies, and all of a sudden he's calling out Canelo. Like, what is he supposed to do, to jump ship? At this point, there's no excuse. There's no defense. I'm not defending that. I don't know if anybody remembers a couple of years ago, right? It was during the Canelo sweepstakes where Charlo wanted a piece, Andrade wanted a piece,
Yep.
Benavidez, Plant, everybody wanted a piece. Benavidez branched out and said, look, I'm not going to sit here and wait on Canelo, right, with the rest of these guys. How about we just fight each other, and the winner gets to fight Canelo? This was like 2-3 years ago, dude.
Yep, I remember.
Since then, Benavidez has fought Plant, right? And then he
and
fought
Andrade. He's
Andrade,
fought
right?
Demetrius Andrade, Boo Boo.
The fight that people really thought was a flat out 50-50, and nobody really knew how it was going to be. And then you saw the result. At that point, what else does he have to do to get the fight? The whole 100. So here's my perspective on this, right? The 150 to 200 million dollar, ultimatum, I think was intentional, and it was just for him to say, I don't want that fight. It's kind of
Pricing
like someone
himself
saying,
out. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like someone saying, hey, would you take $100 million to take a punch from Gervonta Davis in the face? Like, hell yeah, I would. Why the hell not? Of course, I'll wake up and pay the hospital bills, whatnot, right? I think that's what Canelo's doing. It's like, okay, you want to fight Benavidez? $200 million is my price tag. I think that's
Yeah.
what's going
Well,
on.
that's what most fans and most critics they've come to that conclusion. But Samson is like, oh, really? Okay. Well, we'll get that money for you, and we'll see if you really want this fight. What if we come up with the money? You said you'd fight tomorrow. So what now, Canelo? So in my opinion, it's unreasonable, though, and you're absolutely right. He's pricing himself out, right? Because no one is going to invest that much money. No one.
Nope.
Like no one. James, your thoughts on what our dear friend Anthony just said?
I mean, I kind of, get his approach as far as like, having a high price tag and putting it out there to the public. And, I don't see anyone kind of like putting that up. But something tells me that they're going to fight. I just feel like they're going to fight. It won't be for no 150 million.
No. And I think you're absolutely right, James. Anthony, here's some good news. Here's some light at the end of the tunnel, my friend. I think they will fight in September. Now, once again, we've heard that David Benavidez from Samson Lukowicz is planning on fighting Gvozdyk, which I think is a bad idea and a terrible style matchup for David. And I think he may lose, and that may ruin a big Canelo fight. But if he gets past Gvozdyk, I think that fight happens in October or November.
You don't think September?
I think it happens. But it's not going to happen in Saudi. If you put it in Saudi, that is going to be terrible for the health of the sport. That means, Anthony, you have to schedule your fight party on Saturday at noon.
Yep.
How much fun is that?
Not at all. And I mean, we appreciate what they do. Don't get me wrong, but we don't really want this to turn into Saudis are dictating the sport, and we go and run to them every time we want a big fight to be made, right?
All because of these spoiled bitches want tens of millions of dollars, pretty much solidifying that no one else is going to make any money.
And here's the
That's
thing
not a good look for the health of the sport.
I agree. And here's the thing that bothers me, even as a Canelo fan. So I understand, right? Like, okay, I'm the king of boxing, I'm the face of boxing. I call the shots. Sure, A side, we B side. We have that problem in the sport. But why are fans okay with this? Why are they okay with the fact that a fighter is sitting there and saying, I know you guys want this fight for me.
They're not okay. They're not okay with it. This is why you've seen pay-per-view numbers dwindle. They've resorted to, hey, you going to do that to me? Guess what? I'm going to steal this shit for free.
Right.
Hey, you can stage any fight you want. I'm going to steal it. I'm going to watch it, and I'm not going to pay for it. How's that? So you've got both sides now not willing to concede, because now that diehard boxing fans have grown accustomed to stealing every event and not even subscribing to DAZN or ESPN Plus, not even subscribing to Showtime. Numbers have gotten so bad that, and now that they've grown accustomed to doing it, do you really think they're actually going to start paying for it? Have a change of heart?
Especially now over the past few months that the prices have increased for the subscription of DAZN and ESPN Plus, Like,
I'm going to be renewing at the end, like in November for $225 or $230. I was like, damn. So I just paid the year, and I was like, holy shit.
Hey, so Anthony, have you been to any of our TMB events or AAA Promotions events in San Antonio?
I haven't, no.
You need to start, brother. I'll tell you what, I usually do the commentary. Sometimes I do ring announcing still. But you know what? Let me disclose your email in the comment section, okay?
Yeah, I'll do it right here.
If you can, or I tell you what, better yet,
We can do
send
it.
me your contact information. I'll disclose my
Yeah,
business
you can do
email. Let me
Yeah,
do
it's right
that.
there in
That's
the chat.
probably better.
So, yeah,
Here, let's do
probably-
this. There's my business email, collinsheron2112@gmail.com. Send me your personal information, and I'll give you 2 tickets to our next event.
Oh, awesome, badass. Thank
It
you,
is
dude.
outstanding. Like
Yeah.
our shows are, honestly, they draw bigger crowds than some of these big promoters here in the country. If you've never been to one of our events, it will feel just like a big time boxing event, and you'll grow accustomed to seeing the biggest stars, the biggest up and coming new stars of boxing from San Antonio, Texas. Hey, I was the ring announcer for Bam Rodriguez's
Oh,
third
awesome.
pro event here at the San Antonio Event Center for TMB Promotions.
That's
And
awesome.
so we are the launching pad for the future stars from Texas.
Yeah, many more to come, I'm sure. But that's awesome, dude. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And so
I'll follow
please
you up on
send
that.
me your personal information. And yeah, I'll get you 2 tickets, brother. Because we've got some big ticket sellers and some big time attractions in which the Spurs are actually getting involved. So it's going to be great. And I tell you what, so we're going to move on, but give us your parting shots or your last comments on this entire ordeal, my friend.
Parting shots would be at this point, I hope for the best, right? But until Canelo Alvarez himself says, "Hey, here's the plan. We're going to fight in September," I'm not going to hold my breath for it. I need to see something happen. Too often in the sport, are we getting pushed, pushed around back and forth, whether it's going to happen, is it not, maybe it is, they don't agree to this or that. I need to see someone say, yes, it's going to happen, here's the day, and we agree. You know what I mean? That's pretty much my last take on it.
Very good, very good. We want to thank you for contributing to this episode of War Week Radio Chats, and continue to stay on the board, man. We appreciate you being here, my friend.
Likewise.
And I'll be in touch, my brother. Thank you so much for supporting our beloved boxing man. Tell you what, that was Anthony. Tell you what, man, very insightful. And that's how fans think. They're sick of this. And James, you can't blame them.
Yeah, I mean they really like showed their frustration in reference to Canelo Alvarez's comments, for this particular topic. Yeah, they did show their frustration on it. And thinking about the whole thing with the Saudi Arabia, I'm like, it definitely wouldn't work for this particular fight because the biggest, consumers, are like Mexican fans, specifically for this, of course. And you talk about, oh, well, we complain about getting up at like 10 a.m. or whatever it is. Well, at least for me, 10 a.m. or like 12 p.m. for the start of these Saudi Arabia shows. Imagine how it is in like Guadalajara, Mexico, if they had to wake up at 9 a.m. to watch something like that. Or they have to,
they'd be pissed.
Or would come on at like, say, 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Over in Guadalajara.
Look, James, with this recent revelation, and you heard it from Anthony. Yeah, he's a fan, and he's a Canelo supporter. What did he say? You can't defend this. You cannot defend this. Right? You can't. He is, and everyone is perceiving it this way. Whether or not this is the reality, everyone's perceiving it that way. And in any entertainment field, perception quickly becomes reality until you prove them otherwise. So guess what my prediction is? I'm going to pull out the crystal ball. My prediction is you're going to hear more Munguia supporters than Canelo supporters at the T-Mobile Arena this year.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that.
Munguia. That's what you're going to hear, guys. No Canelo. That's what you're going to hear. So let's go to our dear friends in the chat, guys. And Anthony, agreed. And that's it, guys. Look, and you already heard it even before these comments, even before he insulted a global boxing icon and boxing royalty like Mike Tyson. Hey, what do you just hear that reporter? Hey, what are your thoughts on Mike Tyson saying that you should fight Benavidez? You know, I would respect his opinion if he were sober. Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
No, I laughed too. Hey, welcome to the show, El Cuatro. We appreciate you being here again, my friend. Yeah, psycho boxing fan has a beat. Man, I don't know. It feels like Canelo's pricing himself out. Our brother G, Funky Boxing. Greetings, Joseph. Let me ask you something.
Well, let me ask
Sus M. Let me ask you. Haney versus Ryan not selling. And why? Because it's in New York. Two guys from California putting it in New York. Does that make any bit of sense, James?
zero.
Chingao. You're putting it in one of the most liberal states in the country. How do liberals feel about boxing right now? Oh, it's barbaric. Oh my gosh. It's an infringement on our civil rights. I feel triggered.
Oh, it's too brutal.
They can kiss my ass and tell them what they can do with that rainbow. Here it is. Jesus M. Saudis don't listen to demands. Well, not with DK running the show over there.
Yeah.
And I don't mean Don King. Hi, V. Welcome to the show, sir. He says, based on the payday Regis received in his last fight, what are the chances of we'll see him fight this year? He's going to be this year's Dimitri Bivol, guys.
Yep.
Oh, this is not the serious offer. Really? Well, everyone is giving you a not so serious offer. Sounds to me like you're the problem, brother. Planet 619, welcome to the program, sir.
That's another example of inflated purses right there.
Exactly, guys. We'll look at Keith Thurman. That's a perfect example. So now he wants to fight. Now he's willing to take reasonable purses. But guess what? He's 36. His body is saying, no. That window closed a long time ago. You snooze, you lose.
Yep.
619, welcome to the show, sir. He says, his fighter's perception of value versus reality. Why Bud Crawford doesn't have a bing, bing, winner, chicken dinner. That's why I said, guys, oh, but Jake Donovan said. Well, Jake Donovan doesn't know shit about the business. Look, I like Jake. But when you hear him consistently, like he thinks this is news and this is actually going to happen, because of the sanctioning organizations, they mandated it. Does that mean anything in this current era of boxing, James?
No. Didn't the WBO mandate Crawford versus, what was it, Alexis Rocha last year?
Yep, they sure did. How'd that play out?
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Okay, let me tell you guys the real reason. I said this when we were on our show earlier this week. Do you remember? We talked about it already. What did I say? I said, nope, I'll have to see it to believe it's not going to happen, guys. Here's the real reason, guys, why the WBO just stated this week through Jake Donovan, care of Ring Magazine. Yeah, it's a funny coincidence that this was, even though this happened when they had their convention, how long ago?
Oh, was that December when he was out there?
Yep. So why didn't they announce it then?
Right.
You know why they're announcing it right now? Because ticket sales are sucking. And because, I'm sorry, everyone's talking about, well, this isn't a pay-per-view fight. Zoo versus Fundora? That shouldn't be on pay-per-view. Well, hey, let's up the ante. Let's make it mean something. Let's attach Terrence Crawford's name to it.
I think they were considering that when Thurman was on the card.
That's it. Now think about this. Have you heard anything from Terrence Crawford or Bo-Mac talk about fighting the winner? Oh, the winner of this fight has to fight us. Have you heard them say that?
Not outwardly. That reminds me, I need to contact Bo-Mac.
Yep. I'll tell you what he's going to say. Man, we ain't fighting Fundora if he wins. Not enough money. And Zoo, there's not enough money for it. No one knows who he is in the States. And when that pay-per-view tanks, do you really think Terrence Crawford's going to want to fight either one of them?
Nope.
Nope. Guys, there's your answer. That was only announced. So once again, it's a sad state when writers don't even know what the hell the business dictates. Terrence Crawford. So Planet 619, you're absolutely correct. That's why he's grown accustomed to receiving inflated purses for the past half decade. And he got a career high mammoth payday that only yielded 650,000 purchases domestically on pay-per-view. Everyone lost money except for the fighters. Is that a good look for the sport?
Nope. And
So
regardless,
that's why, in my opinion, if Terrence Crawford does not get the Canelo fight in September, he very well still may. And that's a huge fight in the States. The only matchup that could potentially yield those kinds of dollars for Terrence. If he doesn't fight that fight, he retires. Guaranteed.
I said a couple weeks ago that if he don't get that fight, like there's like zero chances he fights this year.
Unless he fights Canelo.
I can see him retiring because as of right now, there really isn't any other fights that are reasonable for Terrence Crawford to have where he asks for the amount of money that he's asking for.
He's expecting. Why do you think he didn't fight Boots Ennis, guys? Why do you think he's not interested? Hey, you can mandate all kinds of shit, anything you want, but that means nothing to me at this stage of my career. I want to make money. That's it. I've earned it. That's how he thinks. That's how he thinks. So if you really think picking up another trinket means anything to him, well, that's just how it goes. It doesn't matter to him. He doesn't care. He's already been undisputed champion of 2 different weight divisions. He's a future Hall of Famer. You really think he cares about getting another trinket if he's not making $10 to $15 million? That's it. El Cuatro, he says, Joseph, we'll give you a pass on stealing if you're old. Brother, because I'm in this business and I know what it does to the sport's health. I pay for everything and I'm happy to do it. Fortunately for me, it's a tax write-off. Hey, you start writing and you use it as a tax write-off, brother. You start covering the sport. James, how's it look when you fill out your tax return, brother?
Oh, pretty good when I get those benefits coming back to me.
And there it is. And there it is. It pays to give a little. Speaking of which, guys, I'm going to be covering this big time boxing USA event in Detroit next week. And I tell you what, guys, look for my article and look for all kinds of coverage next week. And I couldn't be happier being involved. Yeah, Dimitri Salita is a great guy. And support the hungry young promoters and his fighters who don't want to hold this sport hostage. Guys, to be honest with you, that's the only reason why I'm still in boxing is the regional promoters and the hungry young fighters who don't act like prima donnas and try to hold this sport hostage. You know, it's funny, Ken Hirschman, when he was the big man on HBO, do you remember when he was running things at HBO before?
Yep.
Yeah, before Nelson ran it into the ground, right? Do you know what he said about Al Heyman? Why he prohibited Al Heyman and any of his fighters from competing on HBO from this point forward? You know why he said that? Do you know what his response when I asked him, why'd you do it? He goes, well, look, I don't want to get into it, but I will tell you this. We do not negotiate with terrorists. That's what he said. Why do you think he said that, James?
Guess he knew what type of deals that, Al was doing that didn't benefit the networks.
That's it. And so people need to start looking out for the investment of the networks. And the reason why he said that is because, one, boy, he was inflating all of his clients' purses. They were unreasonable. And he would use guys like Adrian Broner to become stars on his platform and then take them over to Showtime. People need to start looking out for the investment dollar of the networks. And why? Because that's who gives us the TV dates. Without TV dates, how does the sport look in America?
Without
It
TV,
ceases
how do
to
we get the
exist.
additional money?
It ceases to exist. And how can you cultivate and nurture future stars of boxing without TV dates?
You can't.
You cannot. It fails. It ceases to exist. And so is Dana White, when he says, is he correct? When he says, shh, tell you what, to me, it looks like a fire sale. Looks like a going out of business sale. Is he right?
Check back with me in about 6 months.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, we can keep that from happening. We can keep that from happening. Put your damn foot down when a fighter tries to hold this sport hostage and say, no, we've had enough. Support the fighters who fight the best in their respective divisions, and they don't demand any ransom, right? They don't want to break the bank, and they still take challenges. Like our man, Shoshan Ergashev, who's going to be competing on big-time boxing in Detroit on DAZN. Guess what? He fought Subriel Matias. Yes, he lost. We love that, though. We love fighters who take risks and want to fight the best and don't want a small fortune for it. Support those guys. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Anything else? We're already 63 minutes in. Anything else that you'd like to talk about? Is there something I haven't touched on that you'd like to go over regarding Canelo or whatever? Anything you want, brother.
Oh, not the thing there through Canelo or whatever, but on this Saudi Arabia front, apparently, they mentioned that for June 1st on the June 1st card,
yep,
that we could have a heavyweight battle, and I know that we talked about, or you talked about Coach Ronnie's show, that you would have Philip Hergovich against Daniel Dubois. Okay. But I've heard about another heavyweight fight that could be part of the card, dealing with two guys that could be involved in a loser leaves town match, as I call it.
The Big Bang Zhilei Zhang.
The Big Bang Zhilei Zhang against Deontay LaShawn Wilder. Now, of course, that involves that, one, Zhilei Zhang wouldn't activate his rematch clause for the WBO interim title as he lost it to Joseph Parker. But two, it involves two guys that, had those performances and lost to Joseph Parker in, those previous two fights. Now, they both didn't look all too well, in those fights against Parker. But at the very least with Zhilei Zhang, he was able to score 2 knockdowns on Parker. So what do you think about this potential matchup being part of the June 1st card? Because I just think having a fight of that magnitude, just thinking Deontay Wilder versus Zhilei Zhang, and it's an undercard to Artur Benavidez versus Dimitri Bivol, that's crazy work. That's wild.
Well, look, I will say this. I don't believe that it's going to happen on June 1st. That's what I think, first of all.
Yeah.
Okay, one, it's too soon after the Big Bang's last fight, right?
3 months.
And two, it doesn't fall in place with the 5-on-5 Matchroom versus Queensbury.
Yep.
I think it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen on that card. But what I think about that fight is, hey, give either one of those guys a nice golden parachute before they retire, because both guys are getting long in the tooth. Both guys look like, Zhilei Zhang had his spots, but after round 8, he was done.
Yeah.
And Joseph Parker and Andy Lee knew that. Everyone knew that. I'm like, look, if Joseph Parker makes it past the 7th or 8th round, Zhang's in trouble. And how many punches did he throw in those final 4 rounds?
Probably like 5 around.
Yeah, it was bad. He basically just tried to survive, tried to make it to the final bell, and hoped that those 2 knockdowns were sufficient.
Yeah.
How did he did the same thing against Filip Ergovich. Oh boy.
273 total punches for Zhilei Zhang over the course of those 12 rounds.
James, hold on, says, what do you think about Estrada versus Valle? I thought you were going to ask me about Bam Rodriguez versus El Gallo Estrada. But what do you think about Estrada versus Valle?
I'm leaning towards Estrada for the win in that one. Yeah, I think she's going to be, I think a little bit too much for Valle, too much activity for Valle. And
are they still at strawweight?
Yeah, I think that's still for
I'd tell you what, Sinisa Estrada, I really love Sinisa Estrada, the way she fights. And honestly, she's got the whitest smile I've ever seen in person.
Oh, in person? Okay.
Yeah. But
I guess you haven't seen Erickson Lubin.
Oh, no, I haven't. I haven't seen him smile very often, to be honest. But Sinise, I will say this: I've seen more meat on a chicken wing. Holy cow, that girl is tiny. So our brother Anthony, once again, great job on the show earlier, brother. Says, but if Zhang lands on Wilder, Wilder's retiring. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. This is, guys, in case you've forgotten, this is why I absolutely love the heavyweights. Because it truly is the theater of the unexpected. Look no further than Joseph Parker as evidence of this. Guys, you have no idea what's going to happen in this potential train wreck. And I mean train wreck in a good way. Like, both guys can bang. So who has the advantage here, Big James?
When I initially saw it, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. Like that Wilder performance to me was just like, he just didn't even try. It almost seemed like, you know.
Look, and we knew this was going to be a possibility after he said he was going to do ayahuasca.
Man.
Look, how did it work out for Aaron Rodgers? It almost seemed like he doesn't have the mindset of a fighter any longer, James.
Right.
Like he was happy to be there. He was dancing and, oh my gosh, dude, you just lost. And you just put up a burger, nothing burger.
Nothing burger. Yeah.
Dude, you just screwed the pooch.
That was like
you're happy?
Like, I don't know why he was like happy after that. I guess because he got, paid or good purse or whatever it is. But when like after the fight and that type of stuff, like my immediate reaction, like I had talked about it, for him losing to Parker and the performance that he had. But there was like one picture of Deontay Wilder that like stood out, that was during the fight. It was like he was there in the corner and you had, what was it? Malik Scott, and you had JD's there in the corner, working and doing it, whatever they could do. And Wilder just seemed like he was just disinterested.
Yep. He was just happy to be there. And look, my advice to anyone who fights in Saudi Arabia, get there 2 weeks, 3 weeks before. In a perfect world, if you can afford it, if you've got the funding and you're making enough, get there a month before. Because let me tell you, if you've never experienced this, and it's even worse for athletes, but look, when I've done commentary in even other parts of the country, if I arrive there the morning of the event or even the day before, that jet lag will eat your ass to pieces. It'll tear your ass up. You don't function properly. Isn't that what Francis Ngannou said?
Yep.
Oh boy. Well, I guess he learned from the best. When you lose in boxing, oh, just make any excuse you want. Even like David Hay, taking off his boot and showing him his little toe. Right? Come up with an excuse. But no, I mean, seriously, guys, do yourselves a favor. Get there at least 3 weeks to a month in advance, because that jet lag, that different time zone will kick your ass. Kick your ass. Isn't that what Jeff Lacey, wasn't that his excuse when he got demolished by Joe Calzaghe?
Don't even remind me of that fight.
Oh, weren't they calling him next
God.
Mike Tyson?
Oh God.
The light heavyweight version of Mike Tyson, super middleweight.
Oh, please.
Left hook Lacey.
Please don't.
He got dissected.
Oh.
Yeah, I won some cool cash on that night, brother. Dude, that was a long time. Isn't that like 20 years ago now?
It's been a good while since that fight.
Yeah, that was when I first started covering the sport. That's when I first got in the business.
And
I tell you what. So hold on. Answer to number one. Answer to number one. Nice. When is Coach Gogi coming back? Coach Gogi is going to help us size up the big events, but he doesn't want to devote time for a regular appearance every Sunday. So he's going to be back sporadically. So this Sunday, we're going to have Coach Bullet, Cromwell Gordon. He's going to be sized at this pay-per-view for March 30th because he's not going to be in the corner of Rolly Romero. So we're going to get his take on everything. Isn't that nice? And there it is. Hey, you've met Coach Bullet before, haven't you, James?
Yep. Talk with him out there in Vegas, a couple of times there. So, yep.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. And he doesn't sugarcoat anything, does he?
No, he does not. No, he does not. I mean, I seen that in the conversation he had with what's his name? Watson. Yeah. So
well, I will say this. No one can replace Coach Gogi. But just think of Coach Bullet being the sweet and low, or the equal of the what do you call it? The sweetener.
Yeah.
It's not Coke, but it's a nice Diet Coke, right? So Coach Bullet's going to do a great job this Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to chatting it up with him. Yeah, we'll get his thoughts, and I'm going to tell him, look, before the show, drink some warm water, get plenty of rest, and some warm tea or something, because he always has Coach's voice. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Coaches where they scream so much at their fighters. Yeah, they start sounding like Sergeant Carter from Gomer Pyle. Oh, shit, I just dated myself. Yeah. Does anyone even know what Gomer Pyle is anymore?
Oh, definitely not.
No, not really. Haido says, it's a shame Bullet is not with Rolling anymore. Yep, but he's with an excellent trainer. Ismael Salas is one of the best, smartest trainers in boxing. But look, a good trainer, wears many different hats in the gym. Okay? So even if he's a strategist, a brilliant one like Ismael Salas, and has that insight like Master Yoda, if you can't motivate or communicate with your fighter properly, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Coach Bullet, they had that, whatever you want to call it, they had that connection. It was almost like Jedi Master and Padawan. So we'll see if Rolly is enhanced, if he's hindered. We'll see what happens, guys, but it makes the fight more interesting. Like, honestly, I'm really looking forward to this fight on March 30th. And keep in mind, guys, this is going to be our final topic, right? And you know what, Anthony, if you have your headphones on, let me know if you're willing to share your opinion as a fan on this upcoming pay-per-view. Let's see if Anthony if he's still in the queue. Let's see. Anthony, are you there, sir? Welcome to the show again. Something tells me he's just listening now.
Yeah, it looks
Okay,
like.
very good. Okay, but guys, let me know what you think before we move forward with this. March 30th, Amazon Prime, PBC's first stint of 2024, first event. Are you going to purchase it? Why or why not? For the bargain basement price, is it going to be $75? Big James?
75. Yeah, I'm gonna verify that because that should be able to look it up. But yeah, I think it's like 75.
Now, I know a lot of people when they say, oh, you know what, they should lower the price to $50. Is that going to help? No, because people who steal shit, it doesn't matter if it's
Doesn't
$5
matter if it's
or
$10.
$80.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. Like, did the $50 price point, did that help Haney versus Lomachenko?
Nope.
No, it still lost money.
Let me see.
So Idol says this.
$69.99.
$69.99, $70. Wow. Bargain basement price right there. Heido says, could we see Errol Spence with Ronnie Shield? As rumors are saying, Spence split from Derek James. I don't know, but you know what? I'll give him a call tomorrow morning. How's that, Heido? I tell you what, our next show, when I go live tomorrow, right? I'm probably going to go live as soon as the Zepeda fight is finished overseas. And I'll have an answer for you then. How's that? And I'll find out for you, my friend. Thank you for bringing that up, though, Heido. That's some juicy gossip right there, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always count on the fans for juicy gossip, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's true or not, that remains to be seen, but I'll find out. Thank you for bringing that up, my friend. But I tell you what, this is a great card, though. In my opinion, I was really disappointed that Keith Thurman fell off the card. I really wanted to see what Keith Thurman had left. I wanted to see if Zoo could be the first man to stop him within the distance. And I wanted to see which version of Keith Thurman at 36. Keep in mind, guys, no one's ever beaten Keith Thurman definitively, decisively. How did you score that Pacquiao fight, James, with Keith Thurman?
Oh, with that one, I thought it was I had with the knockdown from Pacquiao, that kind of like had him, ahead, but I still had him like 7-5 with the extra points. So that's still like 115, 112 Pacquiao.
That's how you scored it? Okay, I scored it 7-5 for Keith Thurman. With the knockdown, I had it 114, 113 in favor of Keith Thurman. And which a lot of people ringside had it scored that way as well. I think Doug Fisher also had it scored ringside there. So, yeah. So once again, no one's ever beaten him soundly and definitively. Planet 619 says, I had it 115, 112 Manny, just like you, James. And I can see that. I can see that as well. But there was a lot of rounds that could have gone either way. So, yes, I can see it. Well, not a lot, but maybe two rounds that could have gone either way. So that's the difference right there.
Well,
but either way, it was a very competitive fight.
Yeah.
And Keith Thurman, if this were 15 rounds, Keith Thurman would have won that fight. But it isn't, and it wasn't. So there it is. But I was really disappointed. I really wanted to see what Keith Thurman had left. But now we have the Towering Inferno. Dude, how did they come up with that moniker? It wasn't them that thought of that. Because do you realize that Towering Inferno, that's an old 70s movie with Steve McQueen. Like, I saw that when I was a kid. So who do you think thought of Towering Inferno? Was it his publicist? Anyway, Towering Inferno, Seabass Fundora. Kick his ass, Seabass. Against Tim Tszyu, the current WBO title holder. Now, James, how are there two WBC championship bouts on the same card in the same division on the same night?
MONEY.
That's it, guys. Like it's funny. A Broadway Joel, whoever the hell that is, who claims to be a journalist. If he's a journalist, I'm George Washington. And he said, oh, you know what, man, the WBC, they just don't care about Carlos Adames. You're right. They don't. And why? Because no one else seems to. It's all about money to these guys. Why do you think we don't put any credence in anything that the sanctioning organizations say? Because they're in it for the money. Why do you think they haven't stripped Canelo Alvarez? He's only made one title defense, and that was the WBO with John Ryder. But other than that, he's never made a title defense a mandatory.
But
he's never made a mandatory title defense.
And that's why I'm looking at this Munguia fight, and I'm saying this might be crazy work. They might try to pull a double on this. For that, they might have this as a WBC and WBO mandatory defense for Canelo Alvarez.
You know what? They very well may. You may see that. You know what? But I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Lance. Welcome to the show, Lance. Kick his ass, Seabass. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Hey, let me read this. She left me a John Deere letter. But anyway, man.
Hey, you know what though, with the Sebastian Fedora like rooting for him. You know, I see some people rooting for Seabass to beat Tim Tszyu, only to ruin any potential chances that Terrence Crawford could face Tim Tszyu later this year. So they're rooting for Sebastian Fedora to win.
Well, look, guys, it doesn't matter because that's never going to happen anyway. Either scenario, regardless of who wins, Terrence Crawford is not fighting the winner. And why? Because Terrence Crawford, a product of inflated purses, is demanding way too much money. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if he priced himself out of a Canelo fight, wanted to put weight restrictions on the Cinnamon Boy. You can see that happening too, can't you?
Yeah.
Trying to act like the A side with Canelo. I can see that.
Yeah, let's see if he tries that. Then you'll see what Canelo's response is.
Get the F out of here, man. Look, if he insults Mike Tyson, there are going to be some choice words coming out of his pie hole, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But I tell you what, though, going back to this fight, I love this card. To be honest, regardless of the WBC bullshit, I don't even pay attention to that anymore.
Yeah.
But the opening bout, Brian Mendoza versus what's his name? Who's the
Boachuk, Sergey Boachuk?
Yeah, Boachuk. Yeah. The guy from is he from Ukraine?
Yeah.
Or is he from Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Yep. What do you think about everyone? Oh, I feel bad for Boachuk. Really? Did you even know who he was 2 years ago? You feel bad for the guy who's received step-aside money for doing absolutely nothing except being the number one ranked contender in the IBF. How do you feel bad for a guy who is number 25 in the world and magically became the mandatory challenger for Jermell Charlo? Do you feel bad for that guy, James?
Nah.
Hell, give me some step-aside money, brother. You get money for doing nothing?
For doing absolutely nothing.
So with that said, though, I love this fight, James. I love this fight. You've got two bangers who come forward, and it's going to be straight fire at 154. May the best man win, in my opinion. Brian Mendoza. He just whoops Boachuk's ass. Have you ever seen Boachuk fight?
Very rarely. And
So what
Like,
were your thoughts when you saw him fight? Obviously, it wasn't very memorable.
nah, it was not. It was not.
He's a
And
guy. He's a guy.
in if you saw like Mendoza when he had his at least the first half of his fight against Tim Tszyu, he was
He was
looking
doing
pretty
well.
good. Yeah, he was doing well. You know, and so like Mendoza just comes off of that and has the momentum from that. Like he did have a very good effort there against Tim Tszyu last year. And yeah, he wants to get back into the mix there in the 154-pound division, and for this to be for the interim WBC title, so he basically gets to fight for the interim title again, so he could be a two-time interim WBC champion. And it'll be all for free on PBC on Prime. There,
And there it is. Oh, wait a minute. That's not going to be on the pay-per-view portion of the card?
No, they moved that.
Wait a minute. What's the opening bout then? Do you only have 3 bouts on the pay-per-view?
No, well, before they moved the Martinez versus Cordova fight to the first part of the pay-per-view.
Why? Mendoza versus W.A.W is better. Oh, you know what their logic is? Now I'm thinking as a promoter now. If you think about is going to be straight fire and it's going to be rock'em sock'em robots and going to entice people to purchase the pay-per-view. But here's what's wrong with that logic. What happens is a fight that plays out and it's rock'em sock'em robots, is it as good in front of no one in the stands?
Right.
That's the problem, guys. That's why it doesn't work.
And I think they wanted, I guess, to with them having this be mixed around there with Fedora being put in the main event, they wanted to, I guess, make it to be all 4 fights for world titles. So it'd be 4 world title fights on the pay-per-view.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. But I tell you what, it's going to really take away the luster from Mendoza versus W.A.W.
Yeah.
Because that fight is going to be all action and it's going to end in a knockout. Both guys can crack, but Mendoza's is going to get there first. It's going to be straight fire, guys. That's a great fight. In my opinion, a much better fight than W.A.W versus Seabass. Your thoughts, your final thoughts on this fight before we move forward?
I got Mendoza for the win.
Mendoza for the win. Oh, so we're going to jump. So what event is going to start us off then?
So the opening bout for the pay-per-view will be Julio Cesar Martinez versus Angelino Cordova for the 112-pound WBC World Championship.
Okay. That fight's going to be all action. For me, it just doesn't move the needle. What say you, brother?
I mean, I don't think it really does either, mainly because, Martinez is,
well, we know they're not the best fighters in that division.
Yeah, that's number one. And number 2 is like Martinez has been off and on as far as like actually having fights. So
yeah,
he really doesn't have that much momentum, going into this particular bout. Like
he looked good in his last 2 fights, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. It's going to be all action. Should deliver. But, oh, guys, and here's your popcorn bout. And this is why I call it the popcorn bout. Right? This is, or let's just call this a DoorDash fight, right?
Yeah.
So this is where you get up and you actually order your food. You do something else because this is for the Aussie fans, the ones who are going to be purchasing this. And it includes Michael Zarafa versus the 42-year-old Erislandy Lara, who's the current WBA, by default, WBA middleweight champion. Is there anything else we can say about this fight?
No.
Okay, moving on. Co-main event. Woo! Well, that was quick. Your co-main event. What's in the co-main event, sir? Repeat it one more time.
The co-main event will be
Rolly.
Rolly versus Pitbull as Isaac Cruz goes up to the 140-pound division to challenge for the WBA World Championship against Rolando Rolly Romero in his first defense of that WBA title.
I love it. I love it. And you know what, guys? Look. And it was killing me earlier. I'm like, wait a minute. Because I'm working on an article for Ergashef, and I was thinking of, wait a minute. All the champions right now, all the title holders are currently working on the Zone platform, right? And I was like, well, no. Teofimo Lopez is the WBO and the Lineal. He's on ESPN. Devin Haney's the WBC. Wait a minute. And I'm like, Super Matias is the IBF. Who the hell is the WBA champion? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Rolly Romero.
Yep.
It kind of shocked me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd forgotten. Does anyone consider him to be a legitimate champion?
No.
And that was the infamous Tony Weeks stoppage, right?
Yes.
Oh boy. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Poor Tony Weeks.
Yeah.
Well, he's given us great memories. And unfortunately, that Yerbasanala fight really did him in, and I can't blame him. That's got to be really heavy on his conscience, right? So happy trails, Tony. You've done great things in this business and in this sport. And you're a great representative for a long time until you weren't. You're gonna lie about bullshit to cover your ass, chingao. So anyway, moving on. I don't see how Rolly Romero is going to win this fight. Well, you know what? Look, in his last effort, were you impressed with Pitbull Cruz when he fought on the undercard of Crawford Spence?
Oh, no. I wasn't. He was fouling. He was headbutting. He was, telegraphing a lot of shots there. And the other thing was, man, I had put money on I was like, I was putting money on Cruz to lose that fight, and then when they read those scorecards, I was super pissed.
Oh, I'll bet you were, brother. Yeah, that was a really painful undercard to watch. Obviously, Thayez, Ronnie Shields' fighter, came through, beat up Sergio Garcia. And then, Nonito Donaire. Oh, boy. Yeah, Father Time just kicked his ass.
Yep.
And that was like watching, that was painful, physically painful for me. It was like staring at the sun. And then Pitbull Cruz, oh, geez. You know what? I could do, at 50 plus years old, I could do a better job cutting off the ring and closing the distance.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got a reconstructed hip. That was terrible. Like, my club fighters do better than that.
Yeah. Oh.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know Cabrera was fighting next weekend over there.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, Tech Port Arena, man. He's fighting over there.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait a minute. Where?
He says Tech Port Arena, man. Giovanni Cabrera versus, I guess.
Oh, wow. That's the wait a minute. That's the new card. I'm going to be doing commentary for that, dude. With Alamo Media. Yeah, I'm going to be, that's on the, oh my gosh, that's on the same day, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm going to be doing commentary for that show. Thank you for reminding me, my friend. Oh, jeez. I better get on the stick and start doing my homework. I had no idea who was fighting. Wow. Yeah, I tell you what. It's going to be interesting. That's going to be on Alamo Media. And I'll list the link on my channel, guys. But is that going to be televised as well?
I don't don't think so.
No, it's just going to be on Alamo Media, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, guys. Yeah, I better start doing my homework then, man. Shoot, I didn't even know it was on the card. So let me ask you this, though. I think both fighters are flawed enough with power that we are going to see a tremendous fight in the co-main event. Am I just wishful thinking? Or do you see that as well, James?
I mean, I see someone getting knocked out. But I've been just kind of, I've been like, it's been like funny to me because, for like the past few weeks, I've seen the odds and they favor Isak Cruz all the way through consistently.
Yeah.
Like, it's been like there's been no like real money coming in that's leaning towards Rolly Romero winning. So it's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And what's weird, man, and Ronnie and I were talking to this about this on Tuesday's show. I was lucky enough to do commentary with both Rolly Romero and Coach Bullet for the big Frank Gore fight. You know, the 49er.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, if I was so sick of hearing bang bang 49er gang that night because Coach Bullet and Rolly both are huge 49er fans.
Oh man.
And I'm like, oh shit. If I hear that one more time, I'm gonna shoot you. but I was really shocked that Rolly only plays the role of court jester publicly. Off the air, guys, he is a very respectful, insightful young man. Like you wouldn't believe it's the same guy. It's shocking. And you know that look on his face that he gives when he's looking into his Instagram or on the recent PBC gloves off promotion?
Yeah.
He sounds and looks like a buffoon, doesn't he?
Right.
And it's hilarious. But behind closed doors, he is a very well-mannered, insightful, intellectual kid. And so I'm wondering which guy is going to show up in the ring. Now remember, he can punch, but James, I'm going to pose this question to you. Can you hurt Pitbull Cruz? He's got that low center of gravity, and he has no neck.
Right.
Can you hurt this guy?
I'm not sure you can.
Have you ever seen him buzzed even?
Nah.
No, you haven't. So what is Rolly's reaction going to be when he can't hurt the kid?
Man,
And he keeps coming at him.
Yeah, and who would you say is going to be in his corner now? I know he got
Salas.
Oh yeah, Ismail Salas. Yeah. So.
Well, look, unless Ismail Salas can fight for him, I still see Pitbull Cruz knocking his ass out because he can't hurt him. I know Rolly's a big puncher, but he can't hurt him. I've never seen the man even shaken. Have you?
Nope, I haven't.
Guys, so put your money on Pitbull Cruz knockout. But I tell you what, it's going to be fun as long as it's short or as short as it lasts. Now let's move on to the main event. That's going to be our last topic, guys. James, is this an upgrade, bro? Because you hear guys like Steve Kim. You know, this is actually an upgrade. You even hear it from Tim Bradley and Chris Algieri on Pro Box. But is this really an upgrade?
No. I don't think it is.
From a casual fan perspective, yes, this is going to be Rock'em Sock'em Robots for as many rounds as it goes. And when you look at the pictures of them standing side by side, does that even matter because of the style matchup?
No, it doesn't.
No. The disparity. Look, if Seabass Fundora, if he could actually use his height and his reach to his advantage, I would actually favor him in this fight. But has he ever fought that way?
No, he sure hasn't.
No, to his misfortune. Because that's all he has to do in this fight if he wants to win. Use his footwork as the foundation of his defense. Use his jab as his first line of defense. And he wins the fight with the jab alone. That's all he has to do. But is he going to do that, James?
Nope.
How do you see this fight playing out, my friend? Please give us your analysis and your final prediction.
I mean, I think it's going to be, a good action type of a matchup there within the first few rounds or so. But I think it's going to be where Tim Tszyu gets used to the activity coming from Sebastian Fundora and his accumulation of punches. That's the thing with Fundora. It's like he doesn't really have something that'll, really like stun you or shock you or put you down like that. It's more of like an accumulation of punches that'll do that. And I think that Tim Tszyu will be able to get used to that, continue to walk him down. He won't have to cut off the ring because this is going to be good for him. It's going to be like a first fight in a while where he doesn't have to use the ability to cut off the ring. Sebastian Fundora is going to be right there in front of him. So he's going to work to, break him down. And I think it's going to take a little bit less time than maybe some people think. And I got Tim Tszyu winning by TKO within 6 to 8 rounds.
Yeah, I've got it RTD before round 6.
Before round 6. Yeah, I was giving it at least 6.
You're being nice. So that's it, guys. That's our take. And we're going to be a little more specific in our analysis the week of the fight. Obviously, we're going to hear from Coach Bullet on Sunday. That's going to be awesome. And we're going to do the Boxing Source weekend wrap. Is that on Sunday?
Yes, it is on Sunday.
What time do you go live on Sunday, sir?
7:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Guys, if you haven't already, please go subscribe to my brother James on the Boxing Source. And I tell you what, your parting shots for Canelo, Benavidez, and is it good for the sport? And your thoughts on the whole pricing himself out, the ideology. Is he doing that? Do you think he's doing that?
Yeah, I think it's something where he's kind of throwing some type of bait, so to speak, and kind of like put it out there. I really don't see like anyone kind of like putting that much money up there for Canelo Alvarez. I really don't see that. But one thing is, I just don't see any way that Canelo and Benavidez don't fight each other. Like I just don't see it.
Look, and it's not going to take 150 million.
Yeah, it won't. Definitely won't.
No. Honestly, and look, Samson is a really smart guy, Samson Lukowicz. You know Samson.
Yeah.
And do you know anyone in this business outside of Elvis Grant's son that doesn't like Samson Lukowicz?
Right.
Do you know anyone who doesn't? No. Everyone loves Samson. They love doing business with him because he's a straight shooter and a smart guy. And what he took from this was, we're just marinating the fight. What I took from that is not him pricing himself out, but a genuine willingness. Like, and if you think anyone at Canelo's level is ducking anyone, this is a guy who, if you paid him enough money, he would fight Anthony Joshua tomorrow and genuinely believe that he could whoop his ass and knock him out within the distance. Canelo is brimming with confidence, but what he does not respond well to are demands and questions from the media regarding a specific fighter that isn't named Canelo. So he was just telling you this, in my opinion, just for reporters to shut up. Hey, ask me a question about Munguia. Quit talking about this guy. Okay? So my question is, if they wanted to build this fight, though, Canelo versus Benavidez, why isn't he in the co-main event of Munguia versus Canelo?
Right. I would have pushed for that, to fit that in.
That makes a lot more sense than the unless. No. So I was going to say unless they see Tank Martin putting up better numbers domestically, but no.
No, it won't.
So why is he going to be in the co-main event, or is he in the co-main event to try and help pay-per-view sales?
That could be a possibility. We'll see.
But that doesn't make any sense to me. In my opinion, if you really want to build Canelo versus Benavidez for later this year, you're going to put Benavidez in the co-main event. Right? But once again, this is a one-fight deal with Canelo. There's no guarantee that he's going to be working with PBC later this year. So there are a lot of unanswered questions still, but let's sum this up, gentlemen. Is this good for the sport? If anyone decides, like the Saudis, decide to pay Canelo $150 million to step in the ring against anybody? No. This is not good, guys, for the sport. It pretty much secures the idea that everyone's going to lose money on the deal except for Canelo. And look, our big events, the biggest names in the sport in the American market, do we need them competing overseas?
Definitely not.
That's terrible for the health of the sport. Guys, I hate to say this, but the biggest, most impactful fight of the year for the health of the sport that could make or break it is going to be Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. James, how many fair-weathered, casual, and mainstream fans have already hit you up asking you about this matchup?
Oh, man, it's a good amount. A good amount of people, have already done that. Like within the past week, that have, talked to me about it or told me about it. So
this is going to be huge,
huge,
guys. So we can't stop it, and you may not like it, but you better pray that the product delivers on the live global stage. It's going to be in front of a regular subscriber Netflix audience. And they've got over 230 million subscribers worldwide. So what is your projection for the audience number? How many people are going to be tuned in live around the world? Take a guess.
Around the world. I was going to say around 200 million.
It may very well may be the size of the Super Bowl, which is like 120 million domestically, right?
Yeah.
Guys, this fight on July 20th may put up Super Bowl type numbers. You may not like it, but embrace it. It's going to be the most socially significant fight of the year, maybe of the decade. Yeah, G Funky, I'm still on. We're getting ready to sign off. We're approaching 2 hours, and it's approaching 12:30 where James is. I'll tell you what. So tell us where to reach you, James.
Yeah, once again, you follow me on the Boxing Source YouTube channel, and we have the Boxing Source podcast Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, yo. So be sure to tune in.
And there it is, guys. Thank you for my brother, J.R. Bell, for jumping on board. I tell you what, man, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, J.R., and I appreciate you coming on and spending time with us. It's a beautiful Friday evening, and we will see you on Sunday. And guys, on behalf of J.R. Bell, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to Warwick Radio. Have a great evening, everybody.
But even now
Rod Vachon Holdings proudly presents War Week Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herring